There's someone in the back. I'm out! Let me see your hands.
There's someone in the back.
Anti-servants!
A van sits in the middle of a parking lot, surrounded by police. But what they're about to uncover, because this case did there's someone in the back.
Anti-servants!
A van sits in the middle of a parking lot, surrounded by police. But what they're about to uncover, because this case...
It was a quiet afternoon in Marathon, Florida. Families were out enjoying the day, fishing, relaxing, living their normal lives. Then a fisherman noticed something strange. A smell, strong, rotten, the kind that makes your stomach turn. At first, he tried to ignore it, but curiosity pulled him closer. Step by step, he followed it, until he saw something that stopped him cold. A body. He didn't wait. He called 911. When officers arrived, they didn't know what they were walking into. At first, it looked like it could be an accident. That area had a history of drownings. But the moment they looked closer, everything changed. The woman had no clothes. There were marks around her neck. Blood. Scratches. This wasn't an accident. This was violent. This was personal. This was murder. And the worst part? No one knew who she was. No ID. No clothes. No clues. Just a lifeless body and a growing mystery. Detective Matt Pitcher arrived not long after. He had seen cases before. But something about this one felt different. He began scanning the area carefully. That's when he noticed it. Tire tracks. Fresh ones. Nearby, strands of hair. The woman hadn't just died here. She had been dragged. Then came the detail that changed everything. Broken branches and pieces of a vehicle scattered on the ground. Whoever did this had been here, and they left in a hurry. Now the clock was ticking. Every second mattered. So the investigation split in two. Some officers searched for the vehicle. Others tried to give the victim her identity back. They went from place to place, showing her photo. Most people shook their heads. No one recognized her. Until finally, someone did. A bartender. She didn't know the name, but she knew the face. And that was enough. That one small lead led them to a restaurant nearby. And there, everything changed. The woman finally had a name. Michelle. She was 51 years old. People describe her the same way. Kind, gentle, a good heart. But her life hadn't been easy. And somewhere along the way, she had disappeared from the people who loved her. While detectives worked to piece together who Michelle was, another team focused on something else. The vehicle, that small broken car part found at the scene, became the key. Within minutes, experts identified it. It came from a van. Hours passed. Nothing. Then finally, a breakthrough. On CCTV footage, they spotted it. A black and silver van. Damaged. Missing pieces. Exactly what they were looking for. They ran the license plate, and the name that came back changed everything. Stephen Matthew Wolf, a man with a violent past, a man who had killed before. Now it wasn't just a search. It was a hunt. Officers tracked the van's movements across town. Then suddenly, it vanished. Somewhere near a cluster of stores. Time was running out. If he escaped now, he could disappear forever. Police flooded the area, searching every parking lot, every corner, hoping for a miracle. And then they saw it. The van, just sitting there, quiet, like nothing had happened. But the real horror wasn't outside the van. It was inside. As officers searched, they noticed it immediately. A smell. Something was wrong. Then they found it. Blood. Clothing. Women's underwear. Signs that someone had been living inside, not just passing through. Staying there. And in that moment, a terrifying thought crossed their minds. What if this wasn't the first time? At the station, Stephen began talking. Calm. Cooperative. Almost friendly. He explained everything. Or at least, he tried to. He said he had been in the area, that he damaged his van by accident, that he didn't hurt anyone. But then, he made a mistake. He placed himself at the scene. Detectives leaned in, pushed harder, but something didn't add up. There were no scratches on him, no clear signs of a struggle. For a moment, it almost seemed like he might walk free. Then everything changed again. The next morning, People started coming forward, one by one, and what they said was chilling. Michelle had been seen with him, inside that van. She wasn't a stranger. She was close to him, living with him, and their relationship was far from peaceful. Now the truth was getting closer. Detective Pitcher changed his
Her name
approach.
was Michelle.
No pressure.
And someone
no
wanted her
accusations. Just conversation. Trust. He took Stephen outside, gave him a cigarette.
Her name
and
was
that's when it
Michelle.
happened. Stephen
And someone
started to
wanted her
break.
gone.
He told a story. Said someone else killed Michelle. Said he just helped get rid of the body. But the story didn't match. Not the timeline. Not the evidence. Not the truth. Because by then, the forensics were already in. Michelle's DNA was inside the van. Her blood, her hair, every piece of evidence pointed to one person, Stephen. And what they discovered next was even more disturbing. This wasn't just murder. It was torture. The evidence showed prolonged suffering, pain, control, something far darker than a simple act of violence. At that point, there was no more doubt. Stephen was arrested, charged, taken to trial. And in 2023, the verdict came in. Guilty. First-degree murder. The sentence? Death. But even now, years later, one question still remains. Was Michelle the only victim? Because inside that van, there were signs, clues, hints of something bigger, something unfinished. And with Stephen now sitting on death row, refusing to speak, the truth may never come out. Somewhere out there could be more victims, more stories, more lives that no one knows about. And that's what makes this case truly terrifying. Not just what was found, but what might still be hidden. Even after the trial, even after the sentence, Detective Matt Pitcher couldn't let it go. Because something about Stephen didn't feel finished. Not like a man caught at the end of the story, but like a man whose story was only partially uncovered. During the investigation, there were details, small ones, easy to overlook, but together, they painted a disturbing picture. Inside the van, there wasn't just Michelle's DNA. There were other items, other clothing, other signs that didn't belong to her. Some of it couldn't be traced. Some of it didn't match anyone. And that raises a question no one wants to answer. How many times had this happened before? Stephen had lived off the grid for years, moving from place to place. No permanent home. No real connections. The kind of person who could disappear without anyone noticing. And more importantly, the kind of person who could make others disappear too. Investigators tried to get answers. They pushed. They asked. They gave him chances to talk. But Stephen stayed silent. Even now, sitting on death row, he refuses to say anything more. Just silence. And that silence might be hiding something far worse than the crime we already know. Because in cases like this, the truth doesn't always end with an arrest. Sometimes, the real story is what's missing. Think about it. A man with a history of violence, a pattern of control, a mobile home where everything happens out of sight. No witnesses, no records, no trace. If Michelle hadn't been found that day, would anyone have known? Or would she have just become another missing person, another unsolved case, another name that slowly fades away? That's what makes this story different. It's not just about what happened. It's about what almost didn't get discovered, and what still might not be. Even the detective himself believes it. He said he would bet there are more victims out there. Think about that. A man who solved the case still believes it's incomplete. And maybe that's the most chilling part of all. Because somewhere there could be families still waiting, still hoping, still wondering what happened to someone they lost. Not knowing they may have crossed paths with a killer who lived in plain sight, a van, a parking lot, a normal day, until it wasn't. And that's how close evil can be. Not hidden in shadows, not far away, but right there next to you, unnoticed, until it's too late. If the story shocked you, you're not alone. Cases like this remind us that sometimes the most dangerous
Perimeter
people
secure?
don't look
Yes.
dangerous at all.
Check the back.
Let
Copy
me
that.
know in the comments.
Good.
Do you
No
think
breaches.
Stephen had more victims?
Tape is tight.
Or was Michelle the only one? And if you want
Perimeter
more
secure?
real stories like this,
Yes.
make
Check
sure
the
you
back.
subscribe.
Copy that.
Because the next
Good.
case
No breaches.
might be even more
Tape is tight.
disturbing.